are 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 not given short shrift.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, man. All right, we are live.
I remember one time my mother called and said, "Oh, yeah, I know." Said we forgot your birthday. Go get yourself a pair of pants.
Right.
Okay.
Dr. Harrison, I believe we did.
Okay, so let's discuss Rabbi Settle's proposal to amend the rules statement to allow rotation of the presiding assignment amongst the board members. The exact wording I think Ms. Pacheco has, and I would propose that the local law, as I read it, is vague enough that it would allow us to make this proposal, and that I would like to bring that to the full board at the next meeting,
Great.
or at the next available meeting.
Yeah. I don't think we even have to have formal, if we're all in agreement, I don't know that we have to have a formal motion and vote since there are only 3 of us.
Yeah, well, but we're the 3 heavy hitters.
Right, but I fully agree, because the proposal that Rabbi Settle put forth is definitely something that is with the heart and flavor and soul of what the PAB wants to do with and for the community. And therefore, I'm sure that once we put it forth, and is it Dr. Harris or Rabbi Settle, would either of you like to paraphrase the statement for right now, so that if we do have any guests, they know what we're talking about?
Rabbi?
Sure. Okay. So I think as the rule currently reads, it just says that the chair shall facilitate our meetings. And what we would like to say is that the chair shall either facilitate or appoint someone to facilitate, a member of the board to facilitate our meetings.
And that's what we're in agreement with. I truly believe we should put it before the board now that we've re-examined what the rule is, and it allows us to do that.
That'll be our proposal.
Yes, that's our proposal. And is there anything else, Dr. Harrison, that we need to discuss tonight for the Rules Committee?
Well, lastly, I'd like to say that it appears that we have consensus that that's what we want to do.
Yes.
That being said, I don't have anything else to suggest that we discuss tonight. Do you, Ms. Brown?
No, I think we're pretty good.
Rabbi?
The only thing I would say is when we present this to the board, I think the 2 things we should say in it are, as we said, that anyone who's on the board should be able to acquire whatever, leadership skills we can offer. That we don't assume that people will come onto the board being able to chair the board, but we hope they'll leave the board being able to do that, to sort of think of it that way. But also that this is voluntary and no one's going to be forced to do something they don't want to do. So in other words, if they don't feel comfortable facilitating, then they don't have to.
Right.
Does that, are those sentiments a part of the documentation, or is this something?
No, I'm just saying when you say, when you introduce this proposal to the board as a whole, I think we should make those 2 comments, right? That, in other words, that our thinking behind this.
What I'm getting at is this. What I'm getting at is this. We can do this because the the language in the local law
Right,
is allows us to do this.
right. But what I'm saying is, but the reason why we
If-
want to do it,
If you don't write it, if it's not written, then it doesn't mean anything a year from now. So if you have an additional thought,
no, I'm not saying this has to be in the rules. I'm just saying, I think it's important to say to the board that the reason why we think it's important to do this has to do with our values in terms of leadership development and really, you know, bringing people up within the board, but also that we don't think, you know, we want to be clear that no one has to do something they don't want to do, because I think there were some people who expressed discomfort at the idea of like being required to do this. So I just wanted to be clear about that. That's all.
well, the only way you can be clear about it is to put it in the language.
Okay, I'll send something to you, Bob.
You see, you understand what I'm saying, Jory? If it's not,
Yeah, I mean, I just think, I guess, I mean, there's a difference between, you know, legislative intent and the bill itself, you know, right?
well, the closer the bill
The
adheres
rules, our rules don't always have why we have them in there. But I'm happy to write a note for the board about it. That's fine.
I would just encourage us to look for clarity. That's all.
Okay, fair enough.
Anything else?
No, because the rules state that we're following Robert's Rules of Order. And one question, is it written that every new board member will get a copy of Robert's Rules when they join the board?
There's no process that I'm aware of.
I assume it's online, you know, in some way, right? But the other thing is, but that's a great point, Arlene, something I've been thinking about that I realized in terms, this is something that I want to work on after the staff is done with their training and in the context of the training committee, is that I think we all need to be, that everyone who comes onto the board needs to be trained in the legislation, the PAB legislation, which some of us were in the early days because we sat down with an attorney and had him walk us through it. But there, you know, that was like really early on. So there are people who didn't, you know, you didn't have that. Danielle didn't have that, right? Certain people didn't have it. So there's certain things. And it also seems like, you know, there's no reason why we shouldn't have some kind of training in Robert's rules in an abbreviated way. We're not going to go into, I think, the, you know, obscure aspects of it, right? But there's no reason why we shouldn't all have some sort of familiarity with how it works. But I think, if I'm not wrong, that Connor in the board rules did basically write out you know, a simplified form of Robert's rules for how things are done in the meeting. So if you look at that, I think that you know, is basically a summary of Robert's rules.
The rules that we just recommended approval.
Yeah, I think we had approved them already. The ones, not the organizational rules, but the board, the board procedural rules, right?
They're just slightly disguised Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I wrongly assumed that everyone was familiar with them. And
Oh,
you know, as the young people say, my bad.
But
And
the brief version is a 208-page book.
we can give it to them. Whether they're how they operate. I believe anything that you require somebody to work with, to know, and give them a copy. Give them the abbreviated copy.
Well, I think what might be easier, again, as I said, is if we all have some kind of like, you know, a training session on it, and you know, it's all online. So I don't think we have to spend city money on buying it for people, but we certainly can have access to it. Yeah.
That's something else. That's something we could also bring to the board, because the board can decide whether a member is worth the $18 that it costs for the book.
I guess. I just think they're other, well, right. we
The
can
other-
talk about it.
The other thing you can do is give them a link to one of the websites that has.
That's what I mean, because since it's online, exactly. There might be other things we need that aren't online, so whatever, but we can absolutely talk about it.
Okay, that's all I have.
Great, me too.
All
I gotta
right,
go to another meeting.
that being said, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
All right, thank you largely.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day.